Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students of Standard 10th, so in the last lecture of Science 2, we had discussion on sexual reproduction in plants, and today we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction in human beings. So we have studied in the chapter of heredity and variation that men have XY sex chromosomes and women have XX sex chromosomes. Reproductive system with specific organs develops into the body of man and women due to these sex chromosomes only. So X chromosomes is present in men and women, whereas Y chromosome is present in man only. So now we shall study the structure and function of human reproductive system. So students, remember that in man it's XY chromosome which determine the gender, and in women it's XX chromosome which determine the gender of the child. Okay, so female have this two chromosome XX, due to which they have this female gender, and in men it's XY chromosome, it's a gender chromosome. So let us start with the human male reproductive system. So male reproductive system of human consists of testes, various ducts and glands. These are the main part of male reproductive system in human. Testes are present in scrotum outside the abdominal cavity. Okay, so if we see the diagram over here, so this is testis, okay, this part, and it is present in scrotum, which is outside the abdominal cavity. Testis contain numerous seminiferous tubules. Okay, there are many seminiferous tubules. Germinal epithelium present in the tubules divide by meiosis to produce sperms. Okay, so from here the sperms are generated. Those sperms are sent forward through various tubules, and from there the various tubules are connected through where the sperms are given out. Sequence of those tubules is as right testis, vas efferens, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct. Okay, it's a duct which is present over here, ejaculatory duct, and urinogenital duct. As the sperms are pushed forward from one duct to next, they become mature and able to fertilize the ovum. Okay, so the sperm which is generated in the test is given through various tubules and to the ejaculatory duct, from where they are given further, and that comes out from the male reproductive system, and then they are able to fertilize the ovum in female reproductive system. Okay, now here seminal vesicles secrete the secretion in ejaculatory ducts, whereas prostate glands and corpus glands secrete the secretion in urinogenital duct. Okay, remember this. Seminal vesicle, they secrete the secretion in ejaculatory duct, whereas prostate gland and corpus gland, they secrete the secretions in urinogenital duct. Semen is formed of sperms and secretion of all these glands. Semen is ejaculated through penis. All the organs of male reproductive system are paired except urinogenital duct, penis and scrotum. All the other part except these three, urinogenital duct, penis and scrotum, all are paired, means all are in the part of two. Okay, so this one surprising fact is being removed from the syllabus. Now let us understand human female reproductive system. So all the organs of human female reproductive system are in abdominal cavity. Now this is the difference, they are inside the cavity, abdominal cavity, It includes a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts, single uterus, and a vagina. Besides, a pair of bulbourethral gland is also present. Okay, so you have a pair of ovary, right? Pair of ovary, a pair of oviduct. There's a duct connected to ovary called as oviduct. Okay, a single uterus, and a vagina. Okay, so these are different parts of human female reproductive system. Generally, every month an ovum is released in abdominal cavity alternately from each ovary. Okay, so if our ova is released from this ovary, next month it will be released from this ovary alternately. Free end of oviduct is funnel like. Okay, it's like a funnel. An opening is present at the center of it. Oocyte enters the oviduct through that opening. Cilia are present on the inner surface of oviduct. This cilia push the oocyte, that's ova, towards uterus. Okay, so from the oviduct there are cilia. Cilia are the one have hang finger like projections. So they push this ova or the oocyte. They push it and they push it to the ova, to the uterus. Okay. Now, how the gametes are formed in human female reproductive system. So both gametes, that is sperm and ovum, are formed by meiosis. Okay, meiosis, we know it's a process, it's a cell division process for the formation of germ cell. So in man it's sperm and in female it's ovum. Sperms are produced in the testis of man from beginning of maturation, that is puberty, till death. However, in case of women, at the time of birth there are 2 to 4 million immature oocytes in the ovary of female fetus. Right from the birth they have these immature oocytes in their ovary. An oocyte matures. Okay, these are immature at the birth time, but they get mature and is released from the ovary every month from the beginning of the maturity age to the age of menopause. Okay, so they have the period in their life cycle where the puberty, whenever they achieve female achieve the puberty age, so they start releasing this oocyte from the ovary, and then till the age of menopause, at the age particularly approximately 45 years of age, they achieve that stage of menopause where it's a stoppage of functioning of female reproductive system. Okay, so at the age of about 45 to 50 years, secretion of hormones controlling the function of female reproductive system either stops or becomes irregular. Okay, so this causes the menopause. Okay, so this leads to the stoppage of secretion of the release of oocyte in their ovary. Now how fertilization occurs. So fertilization of zygote by union of sperm and ovum is called as fertilization. So it's a formation of zygote. It was told to you, even in plants there is a formation of zygote when the pollen grain reaches the egg cell in the ovum. Similarly, in human, the same union of sperm and ovum, and this process is called as fertilization. So fertilization is internal in humans. It's internal. Semen is ejaculated in vagina during copulation, okay, during the reproduction process. So it's sperms in the number of few million start their journey by the root of vagina and then to uterus and then to oviduct. Okay, this is where they pass on, and one of those few million sperms fertilize the only ovum present in the oviduct. Okay, so out of million of sperms, only one is able to fertilize the ovum. It's an ovum which is single. So from the age of puberty up to the menopause, that is from the years of 10 to 17 of age up to 45 to 50 years, an ovum is released every month from the ovary. That is 2 to 4 million ova. Okay, approximately only 400 oocytes are released. So how many out of this much? 2 to 4 million, only 400s are released up to the age of menopause. Remaining oocytes undergo degeneration. So remaining they undergo degeneration. Okay, so this is how fertilization occurs. You can understand from this diagram as well. So there's many sperms, and this is a single oocyte, so they stick to it and only one is able to fertilize this oocyte. Okay, now this part is being eliminated, otherwise there used to be a key reason on this, so this part got eliminated. Even this one, development and birth, is got eliminated this time. Okay, so now let us discuss menstrual cycle. Female reproductive system undergoes some changes at puberty, and those changes repeated at the interval of every 28 to 30 days. So these repetitive changes are called as menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is a natural process and it's controlled by 4 hormones. Okay, those are the 4 hormones in female reproductive system which control this cycle. Now those 4 hormones are called follicle stimulating hormone FSH, luteinizing hormone LH, estrogen and progesterone. So one of the several follicles in the ovaries start to develop along with oocyte present in it. Okay, under the effect of follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, so many follicles in the ovaries start to develop as soon as oocytes are present, and then under this effect of follicle stimulating hormone, these all things start developing, and this developing follicle secretes estrogen, the another hormone. Endometrium of the uterus start to develop. Okay, is a layer of the uterus, under layer, which start to develop during first cycle or regenerate during subsequent cycle under the effect of estrogen. Meanwhile, developing follicle completes its development. It bursts under the effect of luteinizing hormone and oocyte is released. Okay, so it gets burst due to the effect of another hormone, luteinizing hormone, and oocyte is released. This is called as ovulation. So ovulation is where the oocyte is released and due to the effects of this many hormones which are responsible for the ovulation period in females. Now remaining tissue of the burst follicle form corpus luteum. Corpus luteum start to secrete progesterone. Endometrial glands secrete their secretion under the effect of progesterone. Such endometrium is ready for implantation of embryo. Okay, so progesterone is the last one, the last hormone which is start to secrete in the female reproductive system, and under the effect of progesterone, endometrial glands secrete the secretion, and such endometrium is ready for implantation of embryo, means holding the embryo in the uterus. Okay, so this is menstrual cycle. Now if at all oocyte is not fertilized within 24 hours, the corpus luteum becomes inactive and transform into corpus albicans. Now due to this, secretion of estrogen and progesterone stops completely. Endometrium start to degenerate in absence of these two hormones. Tissues of degenerating endometrium and unfertilized ovum are discarded out through vagina. This is accompanied with continuous bleeding. Bleeding continues approximately for 4 to 5 days. For 5 days, and this is called as menstruation. So if at all oocyte is not fertilized, so now what happened? Corpus luteum becomes inactive and it converts to corpus albicans, and due to this, estrogen and progesterone, they stop completely, their secretion stop completely, and endometrium starts to degenerate. And what happens due to this? Unfertilized ovum, endometrium, they get discarded. Okay, means they got removed from the vagina, and this leads to bleeding, and this is what happened in females for about 5 days, and this period is called as menstruation period or menstrual cycle. Unless the oocyte is fertilized and embryo is implanted, this process is repeated every month. Okay, so if at all the oocyte is not fertilized, this process will get repeated every month in the body of female. But if at all, if embryo is implanted, okay, it means the oocyte got fertilized, repetition of this cycle is temporarily stopped till the parturition and thereafter period of breastfeeding. Okay, so till that embryo got developed in the womb of mother, so unless this whole period means all the complete period of the embryo gets completed in the womb of mother, it converts into fetus and then the birth of child, until the breastfeeding, this remains stopped. The menstrual cycle is a natural process and the women experience severe pain during this period. Okay, yeah, this is this natural process and this leads to pain in the body of women. Severe weakness is felt due to heavy bleeding. Okay, as they are bleeding, so weakness is being found in them. There is higher possibility of infection too during this overall period. Due to all such reason, there is need of rest along with special personal hygiene. So they need rest at this particular time, and they also need to maintain some special personal hygiene. So this was all about menstruation or menstrual cycle. Now let us also understand there are some modern technology which help many people who are the couples in particular, where they cannot have children due to various reasons. Now in case of women, irregularity in menstrual cycle, difficulties in oocyte production, obstacles in oviduct, difficulties in implantation in uterus, and many other reasons are responsible for this. Absence of sperms in semen, slow movement of sperms, anomalies in sperms are the reason in case of males as well. So even women have some reason for that for the reason as it was mentioned over here. Even in case of male there are some reasons. So now with the help of advanced medical techniques like IVF, surrogacy, sperm bank, and the childless couple can have a child. So there are technology, let us understand one by one. So if we talk about in vitro fertilization, also called as IVF, so in this technique fertilization is brought about in a test tube and the embryo is formed, is implanted in the uterus of woman at appropriate time. Okay, so what they do, they collect oocyte from female and then they collect sperm from the male and they bring about union in the test tube, and then embryo which is formed, then they implant it in the uterus of women. So IVF technique is used for having the child in case of those childless couple who have problems like less sperm count or obstacle in oviduct. Okay, so this is technique helping those childless couple. Now if we talk about surrogacy, let's talk about surrogacy. Some women have problems in implantation of embryo in uterus. Okay, so if all they cannot go for IVF because there is a problem in uterus of the women. So such women can take the help of modern remedial technique called as surrogacy. Now what happened in this technique, oocyte is collected from the ovary of the woman having problem in the implantation in uterus. Then that oocyte is fertilized in the test tube with the help of sperms collected from her husband, and now that embryo formed from such fertilization is implanted in the uterus of some other woman. Yeah, this is different. That what it make it different from IVF technique, which have normal uterus. Now such a woman whose uterus the embryo is implanted is called as surrogate mother. Okay, that woman is not a biological mother, that woman is a surrogate mother. Okay, now talking about the next technique called as sperm bank or semen bank. So there are various problems in the sperm production as mentioned above in case of many men. So as to have children in case of such couples, new concept of sperm bank has been introduced. This concept is similar to blood bank. Okay, so it's very similar, where blood bank where we donate our blood. So it's a similar to one where the blood bank, similar to blood bank, it's sperm bank where the sperm is being donated by the donors. So sperm semen ejaculated by the desired man is collected after their through physical and medical checkup and stored in the sperm bank. Now this sperm, as per the wish of needful couple, the oocyte of woman of the concerned couple is fertilized by IVF technique using the semen of the sperm bank. Resultant embryo is implanted in the uterus of some same woman. Name of the semen donor is strictly kept secret as per the law. Okay, so this is one of the other technique. Now let us talk about twins. Okay, if two embryos are developed simultaneously in the same uterus and thus two offsprings are delivered simultaneously, such offsprings are called as twins. So many of the time you must have seen in your neighbors, on your area, in your family, you have twins brother or twin sister. So this is due to the development of two embryo in the womb of mother. So many couples have twins. Okay, there are two main types of twins called as monozygotic twins and dizygotic twins. So what is the difference? Monozygotic twins are formed from single embryo. Okay, mono means single or one. During early period of embryonic development, within 8 days of zygote formation, cells of that embryo divide into two groups. Okay, if a single cell of embryo get divides into two zygote, then it will be called as monozygotic twins. Okay, means the two cells are formed from the single zygote. Okay, and that happens within 8 days of zygote formation. Now if those two groups develop as two separate embryos and thus monozygotic twins are formed. Now those two groups, they have developed as two separate embryo and those are monozygotic twins. Such twins are genetically exactly similar to each other. Okay, they are genetically very similar. Due to this, such twins are exactly similar in their appearance. Their gender is also same. Both will be either boys or girls. Okay, now in case of monozygotic twins, if the embryonic cells are divided into two groups 8 days after the zygote formation, there is high possibility of formation of conjoined twins. Okay, conjoined twins. So if what happened in this case, if some part of the body doesn't properly separate, some part of the body or some part of the body are joined together, such twins are born with some parts of the body joined to each other. Some organs are common in such twins. Okay, so this is a high risky one. Occasionally two oocytes are released from the ovary of a woman and both oocytes are fertilized by two separate sperms and thus two zygotes are formed. Usually what happens, it's only single oocyte which released by the ovary of women and single sperm fertilize it. But if at all sometime it happened in case of some women, two oocytes are released, so in that case two sperms fertilize those two separate sperm fertilize those two oocyte and we get two zygote to see in such women, and two embryos are formed from those two zygotes and both of these embryos are separately implanted in the uterus and thus dizygotic twins are developed or delivered after complete development. And such twins are genetically different and may be same or different by gender. Okay, may be same or different by gender. Now this is the last topic of this chapter, reproductive health. So what one should do to maintain his or her reproductive health? A person's state of being physical, mental and social strongness is called as health. Okay, we call a person is healthy when a person states of physical, mental and social strongness, we call it the person is a healthy person. So in our country there seems to be lack of awareness regarding reproductive health due to various reasons. Okay, we have lack of awareness in our country, in our society, like social customs, tradition, illiteracy, shyness, and especially there seems to be indifference towards the reproductive health of women. So particularly women suffer this ignorance or problem with relates to their reproductive system. So occurrence of menstrual cycle is related with reproductive and overall health of women. Nowadays women are working at par with men. Due to this they have to stay outdoors for whole day. Bleeding occurs during menstrual cycle. Due to this private organs, the genitals need to be maintained clean time to time, otherwise problems regarding reproductive health may arise. Okay, so particularly women, as they suffer, as they have this period of menstrual cycle in a month, so and when they remain out for long time, so they need to maintain the cleanliness of their reproductive system. Some problems regarding reproductive health may arise in men too. It is essential to maintain cleanliness of their genitals, okay, of the reproductive organs. So this is how the chapter is finished. So yeah, we also have some diseases related to it. So after, among various sexual diseases, syphilis, gonorrhea occurs on a large scale. Both of diseases are occurred by bacteria. Occurrence of patches on various parts of the body including genitals, rash, fever, inflammation of joints, alopecia, etc. The symptoms of syphilis, and painful and burning sensation during urination, oozing of pus through penis and vagina, inflammation of urinary tract, anus, throat, eyes, etc. The symptoms of gonorrhea. Okay, so these are some sexual diseases. If you maintain reproductive health, you remain protected from such diseases. So here we have finished with this chapter. Now I will forward the written work of this chapter in the group. So write all this written material of this chapter in your notebook. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.